Right here I have a brand new piece which is made by Planet Audio, not a mainstream company that we typically stock and sell here at Let's Go. However, we did get a deal from these manufacturers, so we took a chance on it. We got it. Now the reason why we went with it is because this piece, unlike a lot of other units that are comparable in price and features and size and so on, offer GPS, but the technology is not quite all there. This one here is made by iGo Primo, which is pretty much the same GPS technology that you find in all the major manufacturers, with the exception, of course, of Kenwood, which used Garmin. All the other manufacturers that are out there, you name it, Alpine, Pioneer, Clarion, all the big heavy hitters, even, you know, Soundstream, Jensen, AudioVox. This is very Jensen slash AudioVox slash Soundstream-esque, and let me explain to you why. This remote control, now that right there, my friends, is a Soundstream remote control. Also looks very much like the last year's Jensen. Here's the sleeve mounting cage. This looks so much like so many other Soundstream units I've ever seen. This right here is a Power Acoustic slash Fahrenheit USB adapter cable. The wire harness, I'll show you in the back. It is an exact duplicate of a Jensen harness, 100%. Preamp harness, which looks very much like all the other stuff, the Soundstream, etc. But this one here is a little bit different. And that's why I wanted to take a minute to review it, because I like to show you stuff that is different, interesting, or maybe has some value aside from just all the regular crap that everybody else has. So let me show you the upfront stuff in the front that this feature unit has to offer, as well as what's going on in the back side. So if this is some value to you, if this looks like something that you might want to use for the price point, check it out, because just for the GPS upgrade from Navi Extras for the iGo Primo software, by the way, is almost the entire cost of what this unit can be bought for, so you can own the entire system for the same price as an upgrade in GPS for an existing unit. So take that. So there's your unit all powered on. I mean, right there, I mean, that is the defining GPS. This is the standard, which pretty much all units out there these days have. So right there, you have the latest software built in. Don't have to pay a dime for it. On the rear side, like I was mentioning, I don't know if you guys really know, I guess it's not as much as I do, as much as I see this stuff. However, this plug right here, 100%, that is a genuine Jensen harness. That is an AudioVox Jensen made harness. I've also seen these things on Power Acoustic units. I mean, even the fuse holder, right down to the screw-on type GPS antenna. Same frequency, all that stuff. And I'm saying these little side notes just to let you know, if you're looking for a unit like this and you want to get what you're paying for, it's good to know that a unit like this, which is kind of like a wolf in disguise, because it's really got the better stuff, but you're not paying so much for it. And a lot of times you might think that it doesn't cost a lot, doesn't have a lot of value. However, the opposite can be right, because this unit actually does not cost very much money. It's in the low 200s, sometimes even in the upper 100s, but more or less realistically, the unit is worth around low 2s in my opinion. All the stuff, preamp outputs, video input, front, rear, and subwoofer dedicated output. Of course, a camera input, analog input for the antenna. Does not have HD radio, tuner, or any of that kind of stuff, or satellite radio compatibility. However, for the price point, it does give you a lot. The only thing that I could really say as a side note, as a detracting feature about this unit, is the utter lack of truth in the marketing. The unit says that it's 320 watts, you know, with the amplifier built into the unit. That's an all-apparent lie. This unit was it's really rated, in my opinion, on my testing, 13 watts per channel, and that's without the distortion. You make it go too loud, you're going to get a whole lot of distortion and noise, and that's not something anybody wants to hear. However, it does have redeeming qualities, such as all the RCA preamp outputs to add an external amplifier. It does also come with the trim ring cage, which I showed you, which has the screw-on type of detail, which you'd find in the older Jensen and, again, Pioneer units. Also has a trim ring, which almost nobody's giving anymore for whatever reason, I don't know. Also comes with the mini USB to standard female, which is no big deal, but they give it to you. The remote control, of course, as I showed you previously. And on the front side, what you have is a 6.2-inch screen, so you're not going to get a really large, supersized screen. However, again, for the price point, that's more than decent. Over here, you have little hidden slot for your SD card, 3.5mm analog input, and of course the mini USB jack, which you can cover up when you don't want to see it out of sight. You got a multi-use jog knob right here, and you have three main buttons here for menu, navigation, and you have a dimmer button. For a lot of people, that's a big concern because a lot of people just don't like it too bright at nighttime. They have that, and you also have a blackout feature built into it. CD DVD slot right here. Eject button located right here. And what else could you really ask for? I mean, as your layout for your home screen, quick button, you can get to your audio settings and all your other settings, as you can see clearly what's here. For your nav, I mean, right there, Navi Extras, I mean, that's just like when I power up every Clarion screen I've ever done in my lifetime. Takes a minute for it to boot up. And the GPS works really well. The only thing I could say about the touchscreen is a little bit laggy, and it's a little weird for me. I expect a little bit more performance per se, just because I'm so accustomed to using and integrating and interfacing I should say, working with the higher end units, which I expect nothing but the absolute best. This unit, again, for the price range, you got to be a little bit flexible, but you can see how it's working for me. I mean, if I have to hit something more than once, ever one time, that just stays in my brain, you know, it's like, oh my god, I don't like that. But it's not so bad. I find that some of these units you have to use the side of your finger or your nail almost of your finger, and it works a little bit better for some reason. I don't know why that is, but it definitely is. But your map is excellent. The graphics are okay. The split screen, I mean, the way it works is exactly just the way you would expect in any other higher end GPS system. And of course you can do Bluetooth, Pandora, and GPS simultaneously, like most units can. But let me not spend too much time on the GPS, because you can go to iGo Primo and you can see exactly all the GPS features. And you're probably already accustomed to them because you're already experiencing it probably in another unit you're using currently. So your navigation's there, disc, which is here, your AM/FM radio, which also supports RDS, so you get the text if you have an RDS broadcaster in your area. Presets are here. Change the tracks here and here. Band button, which you have 3 bands of FM, 1 in AM, of course. You have 18 presets for FM, and you have 12 in AM. I don't know why you need 12 AMs, but you do. Save, your distance, go to, quick, and your audio settings. This is a really big selling feature. Not really anything in this price point gives you an EQ, and you know, if you watch my stuff, I'm an EQ nut. I'm just a sound tuner lunatic when it comes to stuff like this. So what's really cool about this is that it has all the presets, and you can actually adjust these and customize them to your liking. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 bands of graphic equalization. That's really cool, people. I really think that that's cool. I mean, you don't find this in anything in this price range. You just don't find it. It's not a digital DSP sound field processor or anything in that league. However, if it's a nice little toy, we can tweak it. Even if you're not using an amplifier, it's a great way to bring up mids, accentuate your highs, make the low end kick in a little bit better than what you're accustomed to, which is very nice, very welcome feature. It's got a nice little, you know, display, nothing crazy, of course, but it is nice. It's very appealing to the eye. It looks nice. Here's where the settings are. You see there's not a lack of them. I mean, again, everything in this price range, you don't usually get this much stuff, but this one really is laying it on pretty well for the price point. So you got your radio region, which means you can play this thing internationally, not just in the United States of America. Here's some of your choices. So, you know, you got some stuff going on here. Your dimmer mode, this is exactly the same as this button right here, but it actually lays it out verbally. Over here you just hit the button and it just kind of goes, you know, darker, brightest. You don't really know exactly where you are, which, you know, I'm not too crazy about, but whatever. Beep, you can turn on or off. Nothing exciting there. There's your video setting. Now this one here is really unique. A lot of these units you have to tie in and wire up an emergency brake or a ground pulse wire. This one here, you can just turn it on and turn it off. I've never seen that before. That's a new one. Subwoofer preamp output. You can turn it on, turn it off. Here's your low pass crossover filters. You got 3 choices. Clock. I don't know why they need a separate subcategory just for a clock, but it's there. Your languages. Again, this one you can use in different places across the country. Internationally, it does it all. Bluetooth, that of course you need for your connecting and pairing devices. Pandora, of course, will work. It will give you basic Pandora support. There's your disc. You could actually set a password, rating levels. You got volumes. They call it volumes. I call it RDS and a lot of other things. So that way when you're going from one source to another, if one sounds more louder or brighter than another, you can equalize all those settings right through here. That's what this is all about. The swiping could be a little bit better, like I said. I mean, it's not perfect. But then again, I'm not perfect. I mean, it could just be me too. But it's a little bit of a delay. But overall, you know, again, you got to look at these units for, you know, the value, what you're paying. It's pretty damn good, because a lot of units I've tested and goof around with in the $200 price point make me mad, just angry. This unit is not doing that. Steering wheel control interface, you got that built in, so you could tie in your hands-free through your steering wheel. Bluetooth, USB, which is here, SD card slot right there. Disc we've already covered. Some other stuff that might be important. Front panel is non-detachable. You have front, rear, and subwoofer stereo preamp outputs. Like I said, the RMS output on this one is 13 per channel. Does have last position memory, SD port, which is excellent. The height on this unit is 4, almost 4 3/4. The depth is 6 1/4. The resolution, 800 by 480. The screen size, as I mentioned, I believe I mentioned it, is 6.2 inches. It is usable in the United States, Europe, China, and Asia. So it's got a lot of, you know, applications. This thing can be sold here in the United States and transported overseas and still be used no problem. You could bring it back and put it all back the way it was before you sent it. So again, for the money, for the software, for the technology that's built into the unit, it's not a bad little piece. So there you have it. There's my look at the Planet Audio in-dash DVD receiver.